Do I have a coolant leak? Hey everyone, and welcome to Drive, your source for automotive reviews, analysis, maintenance, and restorations. Please subscribe to our channel, watch the entire video, and of course, click on notifications to be first to learn about new videos. I'm Chris Capredoni, and in this how-to video, I'm going to describe how to do a coolant flush in a Buick Encore. This process is very similar to other GM vehicles as well as other vehicle brands. The difference being the location of the coolant reservoir as well as the radiator drain plug or spout. As with many vehicles, unless you perform an engine block flush, some old coolant will remain in the engine block and heater core. In one of my previous videos, I described and explained how to flush out a heater core. Check out that video. I will explain the simple tools required as well as what type of coolant to use in this vehicle. Let's get started. Hi everyone, I'm going to be doing some regular maintenance to this 2014 Buick Encore, specifically with the cooling system. I do a cooling system flush on a regular basis every 6 to 9 months. So what I'm going to be doing is pretty much draining the majority of the cooling system, which is the radiator. I won't be able to get to all of the coolant in the engine core, but the fact that I flush it on a regular, or drain it and refill it on a regular basis, that negates the problems of old coolant. So everything begins and starts with the reservoir. I'll be monitoring the level as I purge it of air, and also maintaining a proper level, knowing that that will tell me that the radiator is at a proper level. So this is where I'll be adding the coolant and monitoring the level of the system. So the next step for me is to lift the car up, get the plastic panel out of the way, and I can show you the procedure to drain. The next step was, after lifting and securing the vehicle, was to lower or try and remove this plastic cover. There are several 7mm bolts along the front rim just under the bumper, and then 4 10mm bolts holding these two panels together. I can't remove it entirely because one of the screws is rusted in place, and I really don't want to waste time trying to get it out and then putting another one in. So what I'm going to do is right in this area here, there's the release valve for the bottom of the radiator. So I'm just going to get some sort of a piece of plastic to a drain pan and start draining this way. So let me go and find something. I don't remember what I used last time. I always use something different. But let me see if I can find something so we can get this done. So I couldn't recall what I was using to trough the coolant into my drain pan. So what I rigged up was just a piece of cardboard and some tin foil. I know it's pretty crude, but it'll be effective. Now under here, there's a release valve, and I needed to start it off with a pair of pliers. But here I'm going to open it up and let's start draining. And this will take a while. In order to speed up the draining, it's important to take the cap off the reservoir to reduce the vacuum that's created when you're trying to drain. This will facilitate. So carefully, this is a plastic cover. Carefully unscrew it. Then you can see that's dramatically increased the amount of flow because that pressure is not there anymore. Here's a sample of the fluid that's being drained. It's actually not very bad. It's just slightly cloudy, not very much. This is a result of regular flushing, so I'm keeping the system in top shape. One word of advice, please make sure that coolant does not get near children or pets, because this is very sweet and it's poisonous. Kids will be attracted to the color and animals will be attracted to the sweet smell. So make sure that you properly dispose of all old fluid and make sure that no one gets around it. It took about 20 minutes, but I drained all the fluid that is going to come out, and I put it in a calibrated pail, and you can see that I have just under 3 liters of fluid that's come out. So when I refill the system, I'm going to be monitoring and marking down how much fluid I put in, because I want to be able to put in approximately the same amount, probably 3 liters into the system. This antifreeze is a concentrated fluid, which means you need to add water to it. So the mixture that I use is 50-50. You can modify that based on the area that the vehicle is being driven in. And I use filtered water. You can use distilled water, but you have to purchase that. I feel that filtered water works just as well. All of the sort of calcium deposits that could damage the system have been filtered out of the water. So the next step is to put the bottom trays back in place, the covers, and lower the vehicle and then move to the top to start the refilling procedure. Now comes the process of refilling the system. So what I do is I have a calibrated cup. This is a ½ liter. And what I do is fill up the reservoir, start the engine, and let the fluid start running through the system. The reservoir will drop. Every time it drops, you stop the engine and refill it until you get to a point where it doesn't drop anymore, and then you know that you've refilled the system. As insurance, I always measure how much I'm putting into the system. So this will be the first ½ liter, start the engine, and then continue from there. If you purchase concentrated coolant, you must dilute it with filtered water before you put it into the cooling system of your vehicle. There are different ratios depending on where you live, from a minimum of 30% coolant to a maximum of 70% coolant. I'm putting in 50-50, so 50% coolant, 50% water. If you live in an Arctic region, you'll probably want to add 70% coolant, 30% water, so that you have more coolant to make sure that it can handle the very cold environment that the engine's going to be working in. So I put a liter in and I started the car. I've put the heater to maximum and the blower to maximum because I want to have the engine heat up, and I want to open up the thermostat so that the coolant starts circulating. I'm expecting this to drop when it heats up. Then I'll stop, refill it, and keep going through that procedure until it doesn't drop any further. Or I've hit 3 liters, which is the amount of fluid that I've drained from the system. So it took a while, but what I did was I started the car, let it get up to operating temperature, drove it around a bit to open the thermostat. I have the heat on full blast in the cabin, stopped the car, let it drain, refill, that is after it cools off, because you can't open it up when it's hot, and went through that process 3 times until I got to a level that it's sustaining. It took several hours to do, so I recommend do it on a weekend or when you don't need the vehicle, and do the process, every 6 months to a year, and you'll have good clean coolant to keep the engine cool. Thanks for watching. Thanks everyone for watching this tutorial on how to perform a coolant change on a Buick Encore. This procedure is very similar to other vehicles. All you need to do is locate the coolant reservoir and radiator drain plug for your particular vehicle before you perform this maintenance. Remember to wear proper eye protection and properly secure your vehicle on jack stands and wheel chocks if necessary. Ensure the old and new coolant is kept away from children and animals as it is highly toxic. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, like the video, and select the notification option. Drive, your source for automotive reviews, analysis, maintenance, and restorations.